Hello, good morning, year two. Now, this morning, our lesson is all about editing our work. And as we know, editing is such an important part of the writing process. It means that we can check that our work is the best it can possibly be and it is ready for someone to read it. So to warm us up this morning, we are going to start by becoming sentence doctors. And on your screen, you'll see two sentences that are very, very poorly, and they need your help to fix them. So I'm going to read the sentences to you, then you can pause your screen and have a go at spotting the mistakes in the sentence. And the first sentence says, worms are very helpful. Worms are very helpful. Sentence number 2 says, do you want to learn more about worms? Do you want to learn more about worms? So now pause the video and see if you can fix the sentences in your writing books. Good luck. Have you had a go at that? Excellent. Shall we go through the answers together then? So I'm going to take my blue polishing pen and have another look at this first sentence here. Worms are very helpful. Now, the first thing I do is read it, excuse me, to see if it makes sense. Worms are very helpful, does make sense, so I'm happy with that. But look here, what have I forgotten at the start? A lovely big capital letter. That just won't do. So I'm going to add my capital letter in. Much better. Worms are very helpful. Now this doesn't look right to me. Like this. That's not how we spell it, is it? It's the right sound, but it just doesn't look right. So I know we can spell R-A-R-E. Worms are very helpful. We're getting there now. This is good. Now, very. Now, if we look at that, very, this again, the sounds are correct, but we know that usually when we're making the E sound on the end of a word, it's not E like that. It's actually a Y. Worms are very helpful. And that sentence now looks ready to go. We have cured it, so well done. Now let's have a look at this one. Do you want to learn more about worms? Well, already I'm seeing the start of the sentence does not have a capital letter, so I'm going to add that one in. Phew, that's better. Do you want to learn more about worms? Again, this U, that's not how we spell it, is it? It's Y-O-U. Do you want to learn more about worms? Now when I read that, that doesn't make sense because wanna isn't a word, is it? We might say it like that, but we definitely don't write it like that. So I'm going to change that. Do you want to? And that is much better, isn't it? Do you want to learn more about worms? Are we happy with that full stop there? Actually, no, we're not, are we? This is a question sentence. Do you want to learn more about worms? And I can hear you all saying, yes, we do, we love worms. So actually, how do we punctuate the end of a question sentence? We need a question mark, that's right. So I'm going to take away that full stop and put in a question mark like this. Do you want to learn more about worms? And that looks so much better. Well done, everyone. So moving on, today is Friday, the 3rd of July, 2020, and our learning objective says, can I edit, improve, and publish my writing? Can I edit, improve, and publish my writing? And all week, you have been doing an amazing job at writing about these yucky worms and doing your information text. And this is the last part of our writing process that we do. So to edit and improve our work, we need to focus on these 5 bullet points and ask yourselves, Did I start each sentence with a capital letter? So when you're reading through your work with your sticky fingers, you'll be checking at the start of every sentence, did I use a capital letter? And if not, add it in. Did I end each sentence with a full stop, question mark, or exclamation mark? So again, read your work with your sticky fingers. I like to read it out loud because it gives me a better sense of where the sentences start and finish. And check, has it got a full stop? Does it need a question mark or an exclamation mark? Did I start my sentences with interesting openers? And we worked on that, didn't we? And we thought about different ways that we could start our sentences to make them really interesting. So if you see a sentence and it's just started with the or something equally quite boring, you could think, oh, how else could I have started this sentence to make it sound better for my reader? Did I check the spellings of high frequency words? Remember, high frequency words are those words that we use a lot. They come up a lot in our writing, so we need to make sure we're spelling them correctly. And common and exception words. So words that we might not always be able to sound out. And we might need to check the spelling of that in a word mat or a dictionary or online, or ask your grown-ups to help you if you need to. And finally, did I check my writing makes sense? Does my writing make sense? So when you read it out loud and listen to yourself reading it, is what you're saying making sense? And if not, how are you going to make it better? How can we make it make sense? So I'm going to edit and improve my own work with you now, and then you're going to have a go at this on your own. So here was my introduction. And in the corner here, you can see I've included all of those aspects of the success criteria that we need to remember today. Have you always thought worms were a little bit yucky? Read this information and you might change your mind. Now, already I'm thinking, oh my goodness, did I use a capital letter there? No. Let's put one in. Did I spell have correctly? No. So I need to put an E on the end. Have you always thought worms were a little bit yucky? And again, I can spot a spelling there. It's not a sound that I need, but a for thought. So I'm going to change that now. And it's absolutely fine to cross things out neatly and put the correct spelling above like that. Have you always thought worms were a little bit yucky? Excellent, now that's looking good. Read this information and you might change your mind. Worms are amazing and very helpful too. Come and find out why. Now, I think, yes, that does make sense. And yes, I have used my question mark and my full stop. So I'm ready to check the next part. And I'm going down to my subheading. What do worms look like? What do worms look like? And again, I've forgotten my capital letter. So I'm going to add that in. What do worms look like? Now that doesn't look right at all. So I'm going to change the spelling and put look as I know it's spelled, like this. What do worms look like? And I've just realized that that's a question. So I need to end it with a question mark. Now, another good thing to do if you do have a ruler at home is to underline your subheadings, because that makes your presentation of your work look really neat and tidy. So underline your subheadings and then start your paragraph underneath. What do worms look like? Earthworms are smooth-skinned worms. Well, that's my first sentence, but have I used an interesting opener? No, that's not very good at all, is it? I'm going to add an interesting opener here, and I might say, did you know earthworms are smooth-skinned worms. And that sounds nicer, doesn't it, with that opener? Did you know earthworms are smooth-skinned worms? And I do need to punctuate the end of that sentence as well, don't I? Did you know earthworms are smooth-skinned worms? Question mark. Interestingly, now that's a good sentence opener, I'm happy with that. Their bodies are split into small segments. Happy with that sentence? Good. If you look very closely, carefully, you can see those segments. Oh, let's read that again. If you look very closely, carefully, you can see those segments. Now, if we remember, we need to read the sentence to check it makes sense. That doesn't, does it? If you look very closely, I think we need an and. If you look very closely and carefully, you can see those segments. Now that sounds much better, doesn't it? And we also need a capital letter for if. If you look very closely and carefully, you can see those segments. Wow, that is sounding so much better. There are also tiny hairs on the worm's body, but you cannot see these. Now that sentence looks good to me. I think we are ready to go. So that is how we edit. We go very, very carefully, very slowly through each sentence, looking for all of these success criteria. And your challenge today is to edit and improve your own work. And once you've done that, you're going to publish your work just like an author would. And you'll do this by writing it neatly with your improvements included onto a plain piece of paper, and you can use big bubble writing for your titles and make sure you use your neatest handwriting. You might want to do it in some special pens that you have at home, however you want to do it to make this published beautifully. And of course, include a lovely illustration of your earthworms as well. I really, really look forward to seeing your work. Good luck, everyone.